Suzi Kory, by the way, in studio here on The Spin. Barry Davis with you, and News Talk Sauga 960. I can't listen to this song without hearing or seeing the video.
Good.
Yes, and I can't wait to see the video for the new song.
Me
Because
too.
it is, now, it hasn't been shot yet, or it has?
No, it hasn't.
And you're going to shoot it. And
Yes.
you're going to go, are you going back to the West Coast to do this?
Yeah, I think I'm just using videos, like music videos, as an excuse to go down to LA. So
See, I know a lot of artists aren't doing videos as much because they say it costs a lot of money, and depending on who you are, it really doesn't make you much in return. So do you have to be very, very particular on the decisions to do videos and you know, whether or not you're going to do one for every song or what kind of budget you're going to deal with? Like, how much of a decision? Because back in the 80s, it was just a natural, right? Song, single, video, single, video. But then you had much music and you had MTV and everyone was playing videos. Now it's all whether or not you're watching it on your computer on YouTube.
Exactly. But, you do have a bigger audience that you can get it to on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm just a very visual person. I think a lot of people are, and it helps sell the song. So will I do a video for every single song? No, because it can get quite costly. And like you were saying, what's your return on investment on that? We should do a business broadcast. I could totally talk about that.
Yeah. So are most artists getting themselves into debt by doing videos? Is it become one of those situations where you really have to sell a lot of merch to make up for that?
Yeah, I found kind of ways where there's avenues where you can make money from music, and part of it is, for example, having it on Sirius XM, radio, things like that. So you try and push that to be able to make the money in order to create things like this, because to me, this is another marketing tool. And it's not like I have tons of videos out there. I do have two. And, I'm just someone who believes in doing quality products, whether it be the music or whether it be the video. So I put a little bit more investment into doing it. And yes, I don't have to necessarily shoot it down in Los Angeles, but, I found a location for Settle of the Dust. That's this desert location that's just gorgeous. Yeah. Do you remember the video for I Knew You Were Trouble by Taylor Swift?
Yeah. Yes.
So she shot it down in Acton, California, and I kind of looked around that area and found a place called Little Rock. And yeah, it's a really cool location. So I'm excited.
Right now, if you look at the country scene, it's huge in the States. Country's really big in the States. Here in Canada, there are pockets where it does well, but it's not everywhere. So is it a natural progression for you to eventually want to do a lot of your work in the States, especially your performing? Is that a market that you find is going to be more fruitful for you as a country singer?
So here we go again with the business side of me. But yeah, absolutely. And, not even just the States. Like I've reached out to, we were mentioning and talking about it during the break that I worked in radio when I was in the Middle East. So I have contacts down there. I've reached out to some people down there.
And country's a thing there.
Well, the thing is with Settle of the Dust, that's a love song at the end of the day.
Sure.
And yes, it's a country song, but it's country pop. And, it could work in a lot of different genres. And, romantic love songs could work with different genres and still be played on any kind of format of radio. And, I've reached out to people in India. So, yeah, and South America. And I don't think you have to limit yourself to just the markets here in North America, because I actually went online and I went, where are the biggest markets for country music other than North America? And, things like India popped up, and I went, wow, I wouldn't have thought of that. So I kind of reached out to people I know, and I said, who do you know, who's there, who, I can get started with, and just kind of starting to plant the seeds for that. So
that's actually really cool.
Well, you think they've got a huge film industry, can you imagine trying to get your song placed in a film? And that's other things, another, when you talk about how do you make money from music, to be able to support the recording and the videos and everything else, it's placements as well.
See, I got to work on this for you, because I do some part-time work at Bass Pro Shop now, and the music that's played there is always country. So I got to find out where they get the playlist from, where the music's being pumped in from. Yeah. And then find a way of working some Suzi Kory in there.
Yes.
Right?
Well, I've done that. I've been in places and went, where's this coming from? Where'd you get this? And, that's it. It's just always being curious, asking. And I know, a lot of times people follow formulas with how things should be done. And I think, sometimes just use your instinct. And if something feels right, do the homework and, don't limit yourself to certain things. Because a lot of artists I know kind of look at the Canadian music industry and the Canadian scene. And that's great because there's so much support here as a Canadian artist. Having said that, there's no way I would just think about North America. I think you have to think bigger than that in order to make it something viable. So if you want to do this full time, there's a lot of possibilities, but you got to go outside of your box.
We're in conversation with Suzi Kory, and we've been listening to her new music and chatting it up here. And at this point in country music, how male dominated is it still? Because I know for years, it'd be like 8 men to every 2 women doing country. The 2 women were always so good. But I'm trying to think now, like some of the top country artists, and it just seems to be still very male dominated.
Yeah, and it's not because women aren't doing it. There's actually a lot of female artists out there. And I don't like to get into that debate only because I'm someone who believes in just don't worry about what is going on. Do what you got to do and get it done. I was years ago, I think we also talked about this on the last show. I was living in the Middle East, and at the time I worked at the airport, and I remember mentioning to my boss at the time I wanted to work on the ramp, with loading bags and cargo and everything with the aircrafts. And he said, oh, no, we don't really have women working down there. And I said, well, you're going to have a woman working down there.
You're probably stronger than most of the guys there, right?
I went down. Well, that's why I got the big biceps. And I ended up working down there, worked my way up, eventually became the station manager there. I took his place, the guy that I was talking to. So, you can either sit there and complain about it. Does it exist? Absolutely. I can tell you myself, I remember doing a 2-hour drive from Northern Ontario back to Toronto, and I was listening to a country radio station. I didn't hear one female artist, not one.
Wow.
And that's what really, when I went, oh my gosh, because you hear about it, but I'm like, there's a lot of females out there, of course they're being played, but not necessarily.
Yeah, see, in the 90s, I thought it was really going to take off because Shania Twain was absolutely huge, and what's her name, the blonde that's married to Tim McGraw.
Faith Hill.
See,
I know my country.
Yes, exactly. The Dixie Chicks were big during the 90s. It seemed as though that there was a market for it. But hey, all the more room for Suzi Kory to get in there.
Well, there's a lot of artists as well now that I'm getting to know and befriended, and I see a lot of that camaraderie and the women coming together, putting on our own shows. And I'm doing something potentially in February called Girl Talk.
Oh, cool.
At the Moonshine Cafe. Yeah, and it's
I'll talk about that. What's that going to be like?
Well, I haven't done it before, but I've played at the Moonshine Cafe in Oakville, and I love that venue. The people who come to watch are real, true country fans, and it's kind of like when I went to Nashville, I went to the Bluebird Cafe. People go there to listen to the music, so they sit and they really listen to your stories, and because you talk about the how you came up with the song and everything else, and that's one of those venues.
Is that the same Blueberry Cafe that?
Did you call it Blueberry?
Oh,
Bluebird.
Bluebird Cafe that was in the TV show Nashville?
Yes, yeah. Now, they actually made like a set that looked exactly like it.
So when they're recording, they're not actually in the club?
Yeah, not always.
Okay.
So, yeah, but it was amazing to go there and really see it. And, hopefully 2020 is the year I play there.
Wouldn't that be something, huh?
Yeah. I'm really hoping.
So there are places in Nashville that you can get paid to play in?
Well, it's not necessarily because you're getting paid to play there, but it's one of those things, like we were talking before, I said about playing the Horseshoe. It's one of those things you just want to mark it off that
of course
I played there just because of the kind of venue it is and, what it means to play there. And really, it brings you respect as an artist to have played there.
Yeah. Wow. Again, things happen. People that don't know you very well, they'll say, oh, things just happen so fast, but the old saying goes, overnight success takes many, many years. Yeah. Are you starting to see more and more the light at the end of the tunnel for all the hard work you've put in? And again, you've been all over the world, you've worked, you're still working on the side as well.
Yeah.
I don't know how you juggle everything. And you've got kids, right?
Yes. But I say to people, when you've got passion for something, you don't feel this is not work to me. And
Mm-hmm.
luckily, my day job as well, I absolutely love it. So, I don't feel like anything is something I'm doing because I have to do it.
Right.
It's because I love what I do, and I do it and I enjoy every moment of it. And, this whole thing about the light at the end of the tunnel, of course, I want success. I want to be able to do music all the time and have it reach as many people as possible. Having said that, it's the little successes along the way. And, when I got Sirius XM to play the song, it's like,
Sure.
wow, and
You got Sauga 960 to play the song.
I got Sauga 960 to play the song, and here I am being interviewed by Barry Davis.
Oh, wow. Unfortunately, that's part of what comes with it.
Yeah,
Take
I
the good
know.
and the bad, Susie. You take the good and the bad.
I know I've made it now that I'm here.
What's it like at work though, as your fellow employees start to see your progression and see you take off? Or like, do they ask you to sing for them? Are you like you in the break room entertaining?
They tell me to shut up. No.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm kidding. You know what? Honestly, I'm probably going to start crying now if I talk about this. But my colleagues,
Let it rip. Let's see the tears.
I'm always smiling.
This could be a song.
Yeah, it could be. But the support I've seen is, I do motivational speaking as well, and
I could tell.
right? I don't shut up. And one of the things I talk about is that you start off a journey like this on your own because you believe in something, and you believe from inside your heart that this is what you need to be doing. You don't know why yet, but you start doing it, and you start off alone. And a lot of people thought I was crazy, at this point in my life, wanting to do something like this.
Yeah.
Right. And then as you start to move along, you start to see what it does for other people. And it gives them hope that, if she's doing it, she's right here with us, and we're seeing every little step of everything she's doing to get there, it makes it more real for people to be able to do the same. And to me, that's just so cool. And, when my video came out last year, I remember my fellow colleagues saying, okay, we're giving everybody 5 minutes today to go off the counters and go and watch the video.
That's awesome.
To get the views. And I was like, I know some really pretty cool people.
Well, Susie, as we wrap up, let our listeners who may not know where to find you, where they can find you on social media and your music.
Well, my website is www.suzikory.com, which is
SUZIKORY.
Yeah, everybody wants to put the E at the end. No E. And I'm on all the streaming services, so if you want to hear any of the song, you just have to click on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music, whatever you use.
Awesome. Susie, always a pleasure. Thanks for coming in. Don't be a stranger. We'd love to have you back in again sometime.
Thank you.
There is Suzi Kory. When we come back, we're going to turn things a little bit serious because real tragic news today as Neil Peart, the drummer from Rush, passes away today at the age of 67 from brain cancer. We'll talk a little bit about his career and his life and hear a little bit of him, not only drumming, but it wasn't often you would hear Neil Peart talk, but if you have the